Now that we've named the burnout and released the weight of false identities, this segment walks you through what's possible when you consciously choose to awaken. You'll reconnect with your inner light, trust Spirit's timing, and learn how to create from a place of alignment and not exhaustion. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we are streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. So your light has never been lost. It was buried beneath who you were told to be. And how many of us came up, we had big dreams as kids, and yet we were told, no, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, how are you going to make a living if you're doing this, and blah, 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 kind of thing. And we took all of that on, and we ended up burying ourselves within that. But this, I want to empower you to anchor into your intuitive, aligned self and take ownership of your awakening journey. And the best way to do that is to be with you, to sit back and start reflecting on what your life is and where is it that you really want to go. What were those childhood dreams? What's going to make you move? What makes your heart sing? And those were questions that I asked myself many years ago of what was it that I wanted to go? Because, you know, when you start hitting your 40s, a lot of times you're like, well, who am I? It's like, I don't want to work for the man. I don't want to do this. I don't want this. I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. But you don't know who you are, but you're starting to wake up because there's a maturity level that comes in. There's a life has happened and you survive quite a bit of life by the time you're 40, but that doesn't mean you know who you are yet. So when you start asking the right questions, you start finding what it is because you made it through the fire. So now let's rise. When you start knowing what it is you want or who you want to be or what is making your heart sing or what has always been driving you, because there is a thread through your life. You have to look for it. And the only reason I looked for my thread was because it was when I wrote the anthology chapter, they said, well, what's the thread? And I had to walk around for a couple of days of really looking at what the thread of my life was. And when I found that, that gave me a whole new drive and a whole new set of things to do and to look at and tweaking, you know, because we're always tweaking. We're always having to refine, especially when we have a big dream. It's in the tweaking and the going deeper and finding whatever that is, what's holding you back. And I want to honor all of you for staying present, even when you're in discomfort, because I know how hard it is to be in that icky place. It really does suck when you're just in this angst that you can't get rid of. You don't know what it is, but you're just sitting and being with it. And that's the best thing you can do, because in there, behind the angst, is a message. More of who you are, the true essence of you starts to emerge. But you have to be in it. You know, doing drugs or drinking is not going to get you to the other side. It's going to numb it and keep you numb and keep you stuck in where you are. And I know that's not where 90% of us want to be. So as you're awakening, you're also returning to your truth. You know, you're not becoming somebody new, but you're remembering who you are in this process. And the beauty of surrender, self-trust, and the spiritual guidance is there. That's probably the biggest thing that I don't think I realized until recently, how much that really is true. That the more I awoke, the more I could surrender, the more I realized I really do have something to say, and I really do deserve to be here, and people do want to hear what I have to say. And whoever I was around before, what they were doing is they were leading me or teaching me how to become the person I am today. You know, the unconscious parts of myself of, you know, when I would tell my father he was a hypocrite at 6 years old and I got smacked. What did that tell me? Oh, you're not allowed to speak. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Now, I didn't understand at 6 years old. I was calling my father a hypocrite because I said, Dad, I'm not going to do what you say. I'm going to do what you do. And I didn't know what that meant at 6, but I learned very quickly. And it took me years before I realized that. But what did I do? I kept recreating my father. I married a man just like my father, so I could wake up to the process. And I had to trust in that, even though it doesn't make it easy during that period. But when you keep moving forward and you keep doing the hard things by divorcing him, and I'm on a totally different trajectory. I can't imagine where I'd be today if I was still married to him. I know that I would not have the mouth, the light, the strength, the power that I have, the confidence in myself. I would never have had any of that because I gave it all away to him. Because my mother taught me that the man's supposed to do everything and we're just like worthless. And I found that to be very much a lie, that women have just as much value, in my opinion, more than men, because we bring life into the world. We carry and do so much more. And we are the way showers. We are what creates life. We do this. Yes, we need men, but we are still the powerhouses because of the amount of pain that we can endure through childbearing and all of that. And if nothing else, women need to know that. And I'm not saying that we have to be the next Sheena or Xena or whoever it was back in the days, a spiritual princess warrior. We can be that, but we don't have to be, and we can be fierce, but we can still be feminine. We can still be gentle. We can be kind. And I don't think a lot of women are necessarily that right now. I think there's a bullyingness that's happening that needs to stop, because women, we are designed to work together instead of being competitive. And then, believe it or not, there are enough men to go around, even if we don't think so. There really are. If we're supposed to be with somebody, we will be with them. I promise you that. So how to move forward with clarity is start aligning your actions with your soul and not your ego. That's why I say get back into the heart of you. You feel and think with your heart and you feel with your mind. If you do that, then you start getting back into there. And then listen to your body. Listen to your intuition. What lights you up? Those are things that are going to help bring clarity. I can't tell you, when I got into ballroom dancing, that's why Dancing Souls was written, because of ballroom dancing. There was so much change and transformation going on in my life during that period. And I was playing and I was having fun. And yes, I was going crazy at the same time, but it was what kept that energy moving so I could keep moving. Now, you're going to stop. There's going to be a part that you really have to do on your own. But, at that point, have a support team with you. Have people that are there holding you up. Whatever rituals you need to do, be quiet, journal, use the light activation guide, whatever it is. Because what was I doing? I went back to doing the runes. I was reading the tarot cards. Not that you could do all this by yourself, because, we're so skewed in our own stuff. But it was the journaling that came out, because when I wrote the books, all it was my daily journals for like 3 solid years. Every day I would just reflect and I would reflect and I would reflect. And it was because I was so unhappy in Chicago, but yet at the same time, I knew I needed to be there. I needed to go back into the heart of me. So I had a little 600 square foot apartment. I was in Chicago. I'm from Ohio. So it was all the Midwestern. I went back to my roots. And that's what I did. And the way the Midwest is they're just so open to receiving people. And that's what I got, is I was able to receive from people I didn't know. They were like, oh, come on over for dinner and you become your best friend. And I mean, that's what I remember. And I had to get back into that place of remembering so I could become that person, instead of always having my hand up and keeping people away because I was terrified that they would hurt me. So let me tell you something about what I did yesterday. I'm in the hotel. We have this nasty storm in Wyoming. And in Wyoming, when it snows, and it's a severe snow, the snow goes horizontally. Well, the rain does that too. So we had this really nasty storm. We had no power in the hotel for 3 hours. So I decided, when it eased up a little bit, I went out to eat. And so part of Torrington had lights and the other part didn't. So when I went out to eat, and I decided to get a salad bar. Now, because I don't trust people, I always take my purse with me. And for the first time in my life, I left my purse at my seat, trusting nobody would take my purse. That was huge for me. Huge. And I was apprehensive, but I was like, I can do this. I'm going to be fine. There's nobody around. And if they are, nobody's going to take my purse. And I know that. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we're streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. Obviously, the powers to be don't want me to speak too much today, so I do apologize for everything that is happening. It's my computer, and it might be the network, it might be both, it might be everything, who knows. But I just wanted to come back and just let you know that you really are in control of your life, and the things that I'm doing, and I'm walking through my talk the moment it's going on. So like I said, when I was looking at all of this, and I did that affirmation of, I release the old, I rise in my truth, and my light leads the way. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. And the fact that I could take a stance with myself and trust that I'm moving forward, that I could leave my purse at my table to go to a salad bar. And I know people do it all the time, but that's not me. And to make those kind of changes, those are huge and profound. And I acknowledge that I've done that. And a lot of times we don't always do that for ourselves. We don't give ourselves credit, because every time in my past, I would always, when I accomplished something and it was big and it was huge and it made me feel good, it was on to the next. I never stopped to give myself permission to enjoy the win. And now I do. And so when I was talking about doing the pendulum with my cats, I decided to do the pendulum on myself of whatever the block is. Release the block for money. Release the block of what's holding me back. Release whatever the ties are with my family. If they are still plugged into me and I'm plugged into them, let's break those and sever. Let's untether from the earth. Let me soar where I need to soar. And then how to navigate into the fifth dimensional energy, but yet still somehow be tied to the earth plane. I don't know how to do that yet, but I will. And that's what I'm asking myself. I want to see how far I can soar, because the freedom that I'm feeling for the first time in my life is huge. That heaviness that I've been feeling for a while has been my father's energy. And the further away the moment of his death, which is a little over 30 days now, the more I feel free, the more my body seems to be lightening up. And I trust that. And I know it may sound wacky and crazy, and I really don't care what people think about it, because it works for me. And if it works for me, I find a truth in that. And that's what this is your truth is your truth. It doesn't have to be everybody else's truth. It's yours. It's what you know to be true for you. And I empower you to find your truth. I empower you to find your voice and speak up, because we need you now. Now is the time for each and every single one of us to wake up and to stand into our power, and to take the lies that were perpetuated on us and send them someplace else and bring out your true essence, because the beauty of who you are is just that. You have to see it. Nobody's going to see this until you see it. The minute you see it, your light will shine and emanate in a way, and your world will change in ways that you didn't know was possible. When I decided I was going to be happy, and no matter what that was, it was like, wow, the world's changing. It's like, no, it was my attitude towards what I wanted change. Being happy, all of a sudden the world became nicer. How was that possible? So what you really do hold the power. We have been dumbed down so much from our school systems, from the government, from the media, all of that. We've been dumbed down. We were trained to be a certain way so they can control us. Our ego runs our world. Well, stop letting the ego do it, because the ego is going to survive whatever that looks like. We are no longer fight or flight anymore. We think we are, but we're not. And the ego will always operate that way. The ego needs to sit in the back seat, and spirit needs to drive the car. Hardest thing you'll ever do. I promise you that. Hardest thing you will ever do. I couldn't let go of those reins to save my life for the longest time, but I did it. I finally friggin' did it. And I am like, why did I wait so long? Well, because that was part of what my learning was. It was about me really anchoring this in. It was about me understanding every step of the thing so I can teach you how to do it every step of the way. I know what you feel every step of the way because I lived it. I am not out there flapping my gums and saying, oh, I'm 20 years old and I'm waking up, I'm awake and I know everything. And then you're nasty, mean, and you're entitled. And no, you're not. No, you're not. You may have a clue, but you really don't have a clue, because you know what? Life experience overrules what you think up here. Because if you're coming from here, you have no clue. When you come from your heart, you have a clue. And I'm going to be blunt, because we are in a critical time that we need to wake up. And I want you guys to wake up and join me in changing the world. Let's bring this new world of light and love to us and allow that the abundance to come in. Not that you're entitled to it, we are, but we're not in that way that you think you are, but you're entitled by a divine right, that you are allowed to have everything that you want in your life, and let's go do it. But let's do it in the right way, where we're supporting each other and helping each other and working as a group of people, where we're making heartfelt connections. Because as long as you're on your phone, you are not connecting to another human being. I don't care what you say, you're not. So let's go out there and do that. So if you got any value whatsoever in the show, I would hope that you would like and subscribe the show, or send the link to somebody who might be needing to hear this. The light activation guide will be in the show notes. It's free to you. All you have to do is just, I know, give your email address, and God forbid we do that, because I'm the same way. But it is, if you really are committed to wanting to grow and change and learn, this is a great way to start, to do very simple things. That starts developing a routine of how to do that, because it is baby steps right now in the beginning. And that's pretty much all I have to say. You can go to the KathleenMFlanagan.com site. All my list of services and products are there. My books, Dancing Souls, The Call, The Dark Night of the Soul, and Awakened, are there. You can get them on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And from my heart to yours, I hope you all have a fabulous week. And I will see you next week, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care.